me put the share screen first.
Okay, it's live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Caught me off guard, but there we go.
Okay, we are live again.
We are.
Zayne and Dan again. Wednesday again. 9:30 again.
Same
Uh,
time.
so, um, although there was no episode last week because I got ill, and here is the learning. Sometimes your body will give you very clear signals that you have to slow down a bit, and for me that was the signal last week. I had a little bit of cold. That's why I just didn't want to participate in an episode when I knew that I would underperform. I want to be at my top performance every time I show up here. um, at least I'm trying to. It doesn't mean I'm at my top level every
Mm,
time, but I do my best to provide uh, the highest possible value of me during this
absolutely.
podcast.
No,
Yes.
absolutely. Most
And
importantly is that you
today,
come. Most importantly is that you come back. You return. You come back
yes,
stronger.
yes,
That's the
I
important
came.
thing.
I came back. Still white, but I came
You're
back.
right.
Maybe more blonde now, but yeah. So tonight we are discussing very inspiring, very prominent person, Grant Cardone, who is supposing, according to him, he's a billionaire. According to some other sources, he's just like multi-hundred millionaire, but still. Um, and he's an entrepreneur. He's motivational speaker. He's book author, and he's sales coach. So that's how I actually heard about Grant Cardone. I have
Mm,
heard about his amazing sales skills. Actually, I did some of his courses on sales. Actually, he changed a lot of my perception on sales.
mm-hmm.
Thanks to him, I understand that sales is about helping people. That selling your product or service to someone is your duty if you think that your product or service will change life of these people, at least help them a bit.
Mm, mm.
So definitely Grant Cardone is important person to me, even though I don't know him personally. And today we will discuss his philosophy through the angle of the most important bits from his most famous, most popular book called The 10X Rule. And we will. So here is the book summary by James Clear. I read the book. Actually, not. I didn't read it. Actually, I listened to the audiobook. And today I would like to also refresh my memory about this book, about this audiobook, and discuss with you some most important bits from it.
Mm-hmm.
I will let you, Zane, to pick the first bit that we will discuss today.
Yeah, so this is the summary of the book, right? So if people are watching, is on jamesclear.com's website. There's a book summary called the 10x rule. So let's have a look. Which one is a good one? Spending too much time competing. Yeah, I would say let me pick this up for now. So over here, if you are watching on the screen, it says something like common mistake 3, which I'm guessing it's common mistake that entrepreneurs make, is that you spend too much time competing and not enough time dominating the sector. When I see that sentence, I'm a bit like, oh my God, this feels very forceful. This feels very macho. This feels very ego. But I think that kind of is the mindset that one needs to have if you want to build an empire that you really believe in. An empire is not a small thing, it's like a big thing, because I remember when I see the word dominate, it's not just Grant Cardone who talks about this, it's also someone like Gary Vee, for example, who will talk about, I'm here to dominate this sector, I'm here to dominate that. So they are not trying to think about, oh, there's this someone else who's doing this, how can I tear them down? How can I break them? Oh, there's competitor B that's doing this. How can I copy them? How can I do better than that? They're not focusing on those people. They're focusing on, there's this group or there's this sector that I'm really interested in. How can I go into this sector as a whole and really build an empire around it? I don't think they care too much about what everyone else is doing. It's about putting the focus back on yourself and how can you go with that mindset of saying, I'm going to be the person who transform all of this sector or industry or make things better. Now, for me, that is certainly something that I also see what Grant Cardone says is that you don't set your goals high enough. And I think, I'm definitely that person to go, I do have dreams, I do have goals, but sometimes I look at that and go, oh shit, yeah, that's like, that's quite crazy. How can I be in front of a stadium of 10,000 people and then do a big seminar or event and makes people feel really good when they walk out? It's like, yeah, I don't think I can ever get that. There's someone else who will do that already. But that, I think, is one of the things, is the biggest step in terms of mindset that I need to learn as well. I think everyone needs to learn. Another example I can think of is someone like Elon Musk. Um, I think Elon Musk really just demonstrated that he doesn't care about this NASA building a rocket. He's worrying about, how can I build a rocket that can recycle itself, but also going for brings people to Mars. So he is thinking about dominating that sector. He doesn't care about what other people are doing. And then guess what? Ended up NASA would say, yeah, we're going to work with you to build this freaking rocket that can bring people to Mars or do more space exploration. So for me personally, when I see that, it's one of the things that I feel like, oh shit, like this is quite scary. But at the same time, I kind of know that this is the thing that we all need to learn to have that next level mindset and thinking, like, think so big that it really compels you to think this is a great vision, but you also have to have the courage to act or work towards it. Otherwise, if that vision is not compelling enough, then it's quite small. And then if it's quite small, which means it's maybe quite attainable, and then when it's attainable, this sense of satisfaction or fulfillment may not be that high. So yeah, that for me at a quick glance is the first thing that I see, and I thought that is interesting for me. What about you? What do you think?
Actually, you said every single bit that I had in mind about this
Oh,
particular.
really?
Yes,
Sorry.
you went so deep into the topic that you left me nothing
Sorry, mate.
to talk about here. Uh, I will discuss another one. So when you scroll down, there is this bit that starts with those who further down. Oh yeah, here. Those who blame as a reason for not achieving success will never be
Mm,
successful. Victim thinking doesn't benefit you. And I like this one because actually victim thinking is the most common disease of I'm not sure whether it's only our generation or maybe the whole civilization, the whole humanity. But very often when we talk with people, and actually that's very common to me and you and some other people who are very ambitious and who are resistant uh, to listen to people who say that there is some limit, that there are some obstacles, right?
mm,
So so we are in this small percentage, and we observe this big percentage of people who are just victim thinking, and they explain their failures by putting blame on something as a reason for them not achieving success. They will blame on bad economy. They will blame on
Hmm.
I don't know, on being born in the wrong time, being born to the wrong family, being born in the wrong country, being I don't know, going to the bad school in the during the childhood or whatever, right?
Mm.
And actually, if you look for obstacles, you will never achieve something, and it will never benefit you in any way. But if you will, if but when you start looking for solutions, how can you make your life better? Then it will benefit you. It will change your life. Believe me, like no one has ever benefited. No one um, has ever become better off by just putting blame on something and making victim out of themselves. Because if you practice victim thinking, who are victims? Victims are weak people. Sorry, but even if you like look at it through the angle of crime, right? In crime, let's be honest, victim is a person who is weaker in some way, and you don't in this world when you are striving for success and you will have to really put a lot of effort and really step out of your comfort zone. You cannot think of yourself as a weaker unit, as a weaker person.
Mm.
There is no place for that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That victim mindset is something that one should not have if you want to attain success. Definitely.
Yeah, so pick the next one.
Let's see. Let's see. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, look, there's the one thing that I really saw, and I'm not sure if it might be a bit of an interesting one, is this.
Oh,
So on the book, it says, "Oh, you're smiling. Is this something you have to pick up again?" Okay, I'll leave that for you because there's another
okay.
one that I realized that I quite like. So I'll leave that one for you. Um, this there's another one that I like. You don't have to be the first to do something, but you should be the best at it. So the reason why I find that interesting is because, say, I'm in the middle of like an online free session at the moment where I'm listening to, and it talks about this idea of, like, if you go into a business and then if you think like, oh yeah, I'm going to start this business, but oh, there's this someone else who is really doing something similar, etc., etc. Say for example, when I did coaching, I was like, oh yeah, someone's really doing coaching, there's so many coaches out there. Or if I'm thinking about doing this thing, etc., it talks about this idea of, yeah, in tell me if you know any industry where there is no competition, like zero, and there's literally none. If there is one that has got zero competition, you probably don't want to go into that industry anyway. So I think that just puts into the mindset, like, sometimes when you're so in it, you always think about, oh, what is the unique thing that only I can do and no one else is doing? But in reality, there's never going to be something that is like that. Even things like, go onto Amazon, if you just want to buy I don't know, a freaking earphone, there are millions and millions of different brands that do that, but some of them will buy the cheap ones, some of them will buy the more expensive ones, some of them will buy the mid value, because there is something for everybody. So I guess for me is, you don't have to be the first to launch a business in such a unique proposition, but you need to find a niche that you can serve, that you can help with, etc. But you not need to only find that niche, but you also have to be the best at serving what that niche actually does. So for example, one thing I'm really trying to think about at the moment is, like, I have a passion for Web3 and crypto and education example, but there are lots of like freaking YouTubers out there, but I don't want to be one of those. I just want to be the one that help people start that journey. For someone who doesn't know anything, help educate them from knowing nothing to something. And I always say this in my class, which is like, I'm not if you're here expecting me to tell you to buy this and then become a millionaire the next day, I'm not the right person. Just switch off immediately. But if you're here to really learn about the way that I think, the mindset, how I believe in the future, how my investment is going to be 5 to 10 years, if you're here for that long, then feel free to stay. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to learn about it at the moment. I'm definitely not the first one to do something like this, but I can see how I can be really good at using my way to teach things that really comes from the bottom of my heart, and not just tell them something and then just like, oh yeah, go buy, because I find that really irresponsible. Like asking people to invest money in something that could potentially lose it is not a really good thing. But yeah, going back to, you don't have to be the first at doing something. You just have to find the niche that the customer, the group of people, the interest that you want to serve, and be so good at delivering what that group of customers need, then you can get there. You know, you don't have to help anybody. You don't have to create everything or to do everything, but find something that you're so interested in, so passionate about, really define that, and then be the best at doing that one thing. So be good at one thing. Don't try to be good at doing everything or spend too much time trying to find one unique thing that's got no competition, because there's no such thing in this world. So yeah, that's my take from that.
I have three arguments to support this claim that you don't have to be the first to do something, but you should be the best at it. So Facebook was not the first social media platform. Amazon was not the first to sell online. Tesla was not the first electric car.
EV.
That's
Yeah.
it. End of
That's
discussion.
it. Full stop.
Okay. So the last one for today from 10x Rule. So it was the saying, undercommit and over-deliver is stupid. Instead, overcommit and figure it out how to show up at the higher level. I'm still learning it, you know, because
yeah, this is hard.
I don't like when salespeople, particularly in my industry, overcommit. Very often they promise things that are not possible. So, but I guess there is a difference between promising, so overcommitting to things that are impossible, but and overcommitting, promising things that are possible but hard to achieve. So maybe that's the solution. You should overcommit. You should promise not to average result, but to the higher result. To, let's say, I don't know, your top 10%, right? Because, like, although you are manufacturing a product that is identical every single time, otherwise, if you do something, it's like the service, let's say, it varies from case to case. But you should overcommit. You should promise to this top 10%, in my sense. You know how I understand this saying. Because if you are overcommitting, if you are overpromising, if you are promising like something that is impossible to achieve, then you are doing it wrong. But if you are overcommitting and you are promising to something that is possible but hard to achieve, then it's something different. And then you have to show up at a higher level. Maybe you will not achieve it for your client, but at least show it to them that you care so much about achieving it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this goes back to, like, you just have to find out what you're capable of and do your best to strive for that, for delivering that, right? Not saying that, oh, I know I can do this, but to manage the expectations, I'm not going to do as much and then actually over deliver. That's like underserving yourself, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That was good. That was good.
20 minutes. That's it for tonight. Thanks everyone who who was watching us tonight, and thank you to anyone who will be listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever other platform, or maybe you will rewatch it on YouTube. Thanks to every single play of our show. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate um, your
Support.
commitment, your support to our show. We hope that you find something useful in the things that we are talking about and saying. I guess this episode, maybe not, maybe next week, I don't know, but there's so many more good bits from this book, so definitely it calls for one more episode about Grant Cardone, but we will see what we will plan for the future. But for today, thank you very much again. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, give us a like, and have a great day, have a great evening, and speak to you next week.